everyone. So if you're wondering why I'm half dressed up and half in comfy clothing, it's because it is absolutely freezing in Queensland right now. I know to everyone else in Australia, you guys would be like, under 20 degrees is not that cold, but for Queenslanders, it is cold. And we're just gonna do a very chill, comfy, cozy video today. So today we're gonna be doing a book recommendation tag. So I found some questions online. For each of those prompts, I'm going to recommend a book to do with that prompt. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into the video. Okay, so first up we have a book you tell people is your favorite. Now that's really hard because the first one that comes to my mind is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. However, I haven't read that in years, but it's something that still sticks in my brain. And when I look at my shelves, there's other books on here that probably take its place now. I just don't know, that's so hard. Let me go for a little scavenger hunt on my bookshelf and see what I can find. I have decided it's still gonna be this book, and the reason for that is this was the first book I read as an adult. So I was 19 when I read this. It was like my first like adult romance book that I read, and it reignited my love for reading. However, I didn't really get back into reading until like 2 years ago or a year ago, last year. My brain is not okay sometimes. But yeah, I didn't really get back into reading full swing until last year, but this definitely reignited something in me to do with reading. I think this is the first book that I read where I was like, oh, you can actually have this sort of stuff in a book and still enjoy it. I don't know how to explain it, but this definitely reignited something in me, but I just didn't have time and money or like my own space to be able to read. So I'm gonna have to say this, even though I didn't consistently read straight after this, if that makes sense. I did read this entire series in like 4 days, but I didn't like consistently start reading until like, yeah, a year ago. Also, I'm sick again, so please ignore that. But yes, I am sick again, unfortunately. My child has a chest infection and I've caught whatever bug caused the chest infection for him, so. Okay, the next one is a book that is your guilty pleasure. Straight away, I have like 3 off the top of my head. The 3 off the top of my head would be like Wretched by McIntire, Haunting Adeline, and probably Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I'm gonna have to go with Wretched by McIntire. I don't know what it is about this book, but actually I do know what it is about this book. So for starters, this book is a Wizard of Oz reimagining. You have Evelina Westerly, who is supposed to be like the Wicked Witch of the West, and you also have Nicholas Woodsworth, which I think is supposed to be like the Tin Man or something. This essentially follows Evelina. She is brains, brawn, and botanist behind her family's drug empire. Her family is part of like a mafia sort of thing. And Nicholas is the DEA agent undercover and on her case. So I think in chapter 2 you have a spicy scene. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in chapter 2 or 3, like within the first 5 chapters, there's a spicy scene in this, and it just hits off really good. And it was also my first time reading where the female was like the bad guy and she got the love interest, and where she was like the real strong, formidable character and it wasn't in a fantasy, if that makes sense. Like, these aren't fantasy books, they're all standalone dark romances. I think that's why I have to go back to this every time. This is my guilty pleasure. I would really love to do a reread of this year. There's a couple of books within this series, but to be honest, I want to reread the entire series so I can annotate it. But this is definitely like first on the list because this is my favorite book in the series. Next up, we have a book everyone loved, but you didn't. Now, again, I have a couple that come to mind straight away for that. And you know what? I know exactly what one I'm going to say first. Twisted Games by Huang. This series as a whole, I didn't really enjoy. I feel like each of the books was kind of a bit of a rinse and repeat with a slightly different plot line. My favorite book in this series was Twisted Love, and it's the shortest book in the series. But this one specifically just made me think of Princess Diaries. And it was a worse version of that. I'm going to say it the way that I want to say it. It was a shittier version of the Princess Diaries. I understand there is slightly different things in this, but the way that she gets to be with him is very similar to how it happens in Princess Diaries. So the general plot line to me is very similar, apart from the fact of her brother abdicates the throne. That's like really the only different part, and that he's a bodyguard and she's the princess, whereas it was, well, I mean, even then it's still, you know, he's a commoner and she's royalty and she's not allowed, like, do you know what I mean? That's still very similar to Princess Diaries, and that's why I just didn't like it. It just, I don't know. I know everyone loves this book. Everyone says this book is the best one in the series, but this is my least favorite in the series. I know, unpopular opinion, but please don't come for me in the comments. I'm sorry, okay? The next prompt is a book you read the fastest. I'm trying to think of one of the books that I've read like in a day. Maybe Neon Gods? Or actually, you know what? Hooked by Emily McIntire. I'll put it up on the screen because I currently don't have my copy. My best friend has it. Yeah, but Hooked by Emily McIntire. I read that in like 6 hours or something. Like, I read it stupidly quick. And it was like the first book that I'd read, and that got me really into this like reading journey that I'm in now. Again, it's from the same series as Wretched. It's called the Never After series. They're complete standalones, but they follow like our favorite childhood stories, but they're reimaginings of them where the villain gets the girl. So Hooked is about Captain Hook and Wendy. So you have James, but his nickname is Hook, and you have Wendy as well. James is part of like a mafia. Yeah, just so much happens in that book. But it's so good, and yeah, like I said, I literally read it in a day. I read it in about 6 hours. Hooked by Emily McIntire. Definitely, probably the book I read the fastest. Okay, a book that deserves more hype. I actually have a couple for this one. Actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. This one. It's this one I read last month. Now I do have a couple like in my mind. I have like Cold Hearted by, I think it's Leah Stone and Julie Hall. They co-wrote that series. But this is the one that I think is criminally underhyped, if I'm being honest. It's called The Vampire Queen by Katee Robert. I rated this a 4.5 star. The only reason why it lost some points was because during the editing process there was a few grammatical errors that were skipped over that have been printed in like have been published in the books. That was the biggest thing that bothered me, and also there was something else, I can't remember what it was, that made me dock it a 1/4 star. I can't remember. But this book was just, I think this is so underhyped. I think it deserves more love and attention. What have we got in here? So you've got Mina, who is I can never say this word, but I believe it's a Damphier. She's half human, half vampire. And her father essentially sacrifices her to a vampire, one of the 7 bloodline vampires. His name is Malachi. The reason why her dad does this is he doesn't really care if she dies or lives, but if she does live, he wants a baby from Malachi so that he can have control of more of the 7 bloodlines, and Mina's father is one of the 7 bloodline vampires. So she ends up with Malachi. They end up figuring out that she's not just half human, half vampire, that there's something else going on, and the story goes from there. They end up like running away from her father and all these things. So it's very, very interesting. I think the plot line in this is really good, but it is so spicy. It got like a 4 chili spice from me, as well as a 4.5 or a 4.75 star rating. So like, this is so worth the read. It is a bit of a chunky book. I mean, it's only 300, I think it's about 400 pages, and like the writing in it is massive. So, and it's also available on Kindle Unlimited, so that's always a plus to me. So yeah, Court of the Vampire Queen is definitely a book that I think deserves more hype. Okay, the next one is a book that is becoming a movie/TV show. Okay, we're doing Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I love this book. I have 3 different versions of this book specifically. I have 3 different versions of Iron Flame, and I have 2 different versions of Onyx Storm so far. As you can tell, I love this series. I love Fourth Wing, and I'm so excited for the TV show. Even though I know it's probably going to disappoint me, I'm still really excited for it. I think it'll be really good to see that. I'm also super excited for the graphic novels to come out for this book, so, but you best believe I'm going to be buying those too. But yes, I'm super excited for the TV show for this series. A book you have reread the most? That's a good question. It's gonna be one of my really old books, like ones that I read as a teenager. It's gonna come down between these 2. This is Department 19 by Will Hill, or City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I think I've reread this book specifically maybe 4 or 5 times, and I want to say I've probably reread this book 4 or 5 times as well. This one is a science fiction. You can tell how old it is, and I freaking loved this book. It's definitely like young adult. It's not like child friendly, but it is still young adult. Like, it's, you know, there's no spice in this or anything, but it's really, really good. It's science fiction / fantasy. It's kind of both. It's really, 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 really good, and I really enjoyed this book. You can tell how much I've reread this book. And then City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which is a Shadowhunter series. I loved this book. I'm in the middle of this series. I was doing a reread of the series because I haven't read anything past this series. So I think I haven't read anything. I think I've read up to City of Lost Souls, and I haven't read City of Heavenly Fire, and then like Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, Queen of Air and Darkness, like Clockwork Angel, like all those. I haven't read any of them, and I would really love to, because I know that these are really, really good. To the point of how obsessed with this book I am, the series, the TV show, all of it. I named my child after the character in this. Jace, that's where I got the name from, was in here. Not because of the character, just because I loved the name in general. I also do love the character in this too. He's probably the only blonde-haired fictional character that I actually like. But yeah, I'd probably say that this is probably the one I reread the most, to be honest. But yeah, there's two options there. The next one is a book from a genre you don't typically read. Now, I have a really good one for that, actually, if I can find it. I just don't know where it is. There it is. Think Like a Monk by Shetty. This is a very much like a self-help book, and this is not something that I read a lot. There was another book that I don't know where it's gone, and it actually drives me insane that I don't know where it's gone. But I think it's called like The 8 Rules of Love by Shetty as well. I love his books. The way he talks about finding love for yourself and trying to find your inner peace and like your purpose for every day and how to love yourself to allow yourself to be loved by others is just amazing. That's kind of what both of these books are about. This one's specifically about finding peace in your mind and your purpose for life, or like your everyday life. But yeah, like he's amazing. I watch a lot of his podcasts, but I watch them on YouTube. And yeah, I just think he's amazing. I think he's done some really good work with this stuff, and I highly recommend this book and 8 Rules of Love. I believe it's called 8 Rules of Love. Okay, next up is a book that deserves all the hype it gets. I feel like that doesn't get enough hype either though. Would it be really controversial of me for me to say Haunting Adeline? I'm gonna say it. Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, the cat and mouse duet in general, because the books really, you do really need to read both books to understand the entire story of this. But yes, obviously I have now gotten the hard copies, or the physical copies. They're just paperbacks of the books, but yeah, I'm obsessed. I love this series. I love this book, especially Haunting Adeline was definitely a favorite compared to Hunting Adeline, just because of what happens in Hunting Adeline. It's very triggering for me, and I don't have a lot of triggers, but this was very intense for me just because of personal experience that I have gone through with certain things. So that was really, really difficult to read. I actually had to put it down. That didn't affect the rating because I think it was really important. But anyway, I'm digressing. This one is definitely one that I think that deserves all the hype that it gets. I think the storyline in this is really good. A lot of people say there isn't any storyline, but you need to read both to understand both. There's a reason why it's called a duet. You cannot read this without reading this. You cannot read this without reading this. So I would love to do a reread of this year, especially because I have this. I have the physicals now, so I can copy over all my annotations and free up some room in my Kindle Unlimited library. But yeah, I would love to do a reread of this year. That's a goal of mine. So we shall see. But yeah, this is definitely one that I think deserves the hype that it gets. Okay, next we have a book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. That is difficult because everyone's taste is so different. It depends on what they're looking for. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do what I get recommended asked the most, which is usually like some type of dark romance. Like, what can you like to enter into dark romance, or even like not dark romance as such. Let's actually go BDSM sort of world, because I have a couple that I've read and it's very interesting. So I'm probably going to say, I don't want to pull it out, but Neon Gods, because it's very hard to get back in. But Neon Gods by Katee Robert. It is like, it has some BDSM elements to it. It's a dark romance. It's a Greek mythology modern retelling. It has slight fantasy elements to it, but it's like majorly dark romance, and it is really good. The spice is very elegant. The writing in this book was really, really good, and I really love Katee Roberts' writing in general. Yeah, I highly recommend that. That's probably something that I would recommend quite often. If not that, and you just want like a normal, like soft romance, it would probably be something like Mile High by Liz Tomford. I do think that's really good as well. Yeah, they would probably be the two that I would recommend the most. I'm so sorry about the rain. If you guys can hear that, I really do apologize. The next one we have is a book that has your favorite characters. This is really hard because I don't want to repeat books, but there's going to be a couple where I'm going to have to repeat, and I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to say this, Powerless, by Lauren Roberts. I'm obsessed with Kai and Peyton, and I also love Kit. This is the like special edition, like collector's edition one that came out recently. I need to get Fearless, and apparently Powerful has one as well. But yeah, I literally love this book. I love this series, and I'm obsessed with these characters, and I'm so sad that the world is over because Fearless just came out, and I read that last month, and yeah, I'm just so sad that I can never go back to this world. I'm never gonna get a new entry into this world. I'm never gonna get a new book to this world or anything like that, and it saddens me so much. So I'm gonna have to say this book. The next one is a book you wish you could live in, and this is one that I'm gonna have to repeat, and I'm so sorry for it, but it's gonna be a repeat. Fourth Wing. I would love, do I think I would survive? Absolutely not. Would I love to live in this world and bond a dragon and do all these things and feel strong and powerful and, you know, fight in these wars and be this beautiful, strong, powerful woman? Absolutely. So Fourth Wing would be the book that I would thank you. Okay, the next one is a book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. Now, I don't have many of those books because I'm very picky in what I read. However, I don't love this book, but I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. So I'm going to use this one for that, which is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I am not a fan of small town romance. However, this got like a 3.5 star from me. I actually really enjoyed this. I don't love it. I didn't love it. It's not like one of those Roman Empire books for me. However, I did thoroughly enjoy it. And when I got to about the halfway mark, I was like, oh yes, this is great. Enjoying it, loving this. But yeah, that would probably be my one for a book I thought I would hate but ended up loving. I would say Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Okay, next up we have a book that made you cry. And you know what? I'm going to hold up one book, but it's for the entire series so far. Now, this book specifically didn't really make me cry too much because I didn't really care. Oh my god, the rain! Good lord. I didn't really care too much for the first book. However, the second, third, and the novella, loved. I haven't read the last book yet, but McIntire, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I did cry through part of this book, I think, maybe towards the end, just seeing everything that she went through. Akamath and Aka War had me sobbing, and so did Aka Fast. Like, all three of those books had me tears. Like, I was crying. So I'm gonna say ACOTAR, but I mean the series as a whole. Okay, the next one we have is a book you wish you could read for the first time. I have so many special mentions because I don't want to repeat too many, but Fourth Wing is definitely one of them. Akamath, Aka War, definitely as well. The Powerless trilogy is definitely another one, and when I say Fourth Wing, I mean the whole lot. Also the Never After series and Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I'd love to read them again for the first time, but the one that I'm actually going to say for this is, I have to bring down my beautiful special edition because I'm just obsessed with it, but this is the Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is definitely one that I wish I could reread. As you can see, I obviously loved it that much that I ended up buying the special edition with the sprayed edges, and I love the hardcover, so I have this displayed on my shelf. And to be fair, it is only like this, but doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, I definitely wish I could, like, if I could erase my memory just to read certain books again, this would definitely be up there, like, top of the list. And this is another one that I think deserves all the hype that does get on TikTok especially. So yeah, this is a book I wish I could read for the first time. Okay, so that ends today's video. That was 15 book recs from myself with the, like, tag questions or tag prompts, whatever you want to call it. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you know when I'm posting. Also, if you have read any of the books that I mentioned today, please comment down below what you thought of them. Just keep it spoiler free. Yeah, keep an eye out on my channel over the next month. I have some pretty exciting videos to come. Today I'm going to be starting a reading vlog where I'm going to try and read an entire book every day this week because I'm off from uni for a little while and I have a really big TBR pile to get through this month. So keep an eye out for that. That's happening this week. I don't know whether that'll be before or after this video goes up. We will see, hopefully after this video. That's it from me. Make sure you follow my TikTok and Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Mwah.